All right, I believe we are live, more or less. Let me double check on that. And today, we've got a couple of things that we'll be looking at. Just two things today, actually, because I have more stuff coming, and it didn't get here in time to set up the stream today. So what we're going to be looking at today is one of these cheapo video ingest boxes, and why I was, let me start my live stream here. And on Amazon. So we're on Amazon and on this other thing here. So this box came in full disclosure, from the Amazon Vine program. And what it does is it takes anything that you've got with an HDMI output and turns it into a webcam. And the one I like a lot is the Cam Link from Elgato, but it's hard to get right now. So there's a lot of other types of boxes out there with similar capabilities. So we're going to try this one out. We're going to hook a camera up to it and see how it does in vMix, and I'm also going to hook up my Nintendo Switch to it because I want to see if it can maintain 60 hertz, 60 frames per second. So that's one of the things we'll be looking at today. And the other thing we're going to be checking out is another thing that I got in from the Amazon Vine program. This is the G915 TKL. This is a super thin wireless gaming keyboard from Logitech. So we're going to unbox this and try it out on the second half of the stream today. And I am sporting the hat today because I've been running around and I didn't do my morning routine, so that's that. All right, so why don't we unbox this thing and see what we got here. I got some folks checking in on YouTube already. So we have Ben, B. Tabalba, Connor Powers, and Max Stock are all here. So this is the box, and it's probably bigger than it needs to be honest with you. But what's nice about it, I would say this is similar to the Elgato. I don't know how it's going to perform until we plug it in. But this kind of reminds me a lot of the Elgato HD60S. In that you've got an HDMI input and then you've got the loop out. So you could hook up a monitor on the output. And maybe we'll do that in a little bit. And I've got my Lenovo gaming laptop here that I bought around the holidays that we're going to plug it into. And what I've got loaded up here right now is vMix, which is the software I've been using for live streaming and production lately. I got to clean this mess of an office up here. And this will be a good test to see if this is going to work with it. So I figured we would start off with a camera. So let me grab my HDMI cable here. And my camera uses one of those mini HDMI outs versus the full size. But lucky for me, I've got my mini HDMI right behind me here. So I'm going to just pull it out of my cabinet of wires behind me. And I'm actually embarrassed by how messy my workspace is at the moment. So just be aware of that. We got some other people in here. Monty is here, reminding us all that TKL means 10 keyless. That's right. So this one does not have the number pad. So if you want something smaller, you can get that, but you lose the number pad in the process. Now, the only thing with this box that I'm noticing so far, let me just switch back to the box on my Amazon stream, is that it uses a USB A to A cable. These are not hard to find, but they're not common either. So you're likely, if you wanted a longer cable, you're probably not going to have one. So you might want to buy a longer A to A cable. And what I'm going to do, if I can find where I put it, yep, here it is. I don't know how much battery life I've got in my camera here. Let's take a look. This has been a little portable field camera we've been using from Canon. And of course, we don't go out in the field anymore because we haven't left the house in months. But when we do again, we'll likely be using this one quite a bit. I don't think I used this one at CES this year, but I brought it with me. It's super compact. Isn't this nice? And you got the the XLR audio built in, so it's really super convenient. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to switch this over. I'm just going to double check and see what the, yeah, we're at 29. Okay, so we're going to kind of do like your standard 30 FPS to start, and then we'll we'll switch it out. And I've got about 38% on the battery here, so that should be good enough for testing purposes. So you know what I think I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to close out vMix briefly and just get this thing installed, and we'll see if it's going to work with like Skype and some of the other things. So we're just going to plug it right in here, and let's see if the system, yeah, so it's setting it up right now, as you can see in the corner. And I think that's it. Now there's a red light on it, a nice big bright red light, and now it's telling me that it's ready to go. All right, so why don't we try it out with vMix first. I'm just going to plug the camera in, and then we'll look at Skype and some other stuff after that. So I'm just going to plug the HDMI cable in here. And actually, you know what I could do? Because I have a fourth input on my fancy video system here, is that I can take the output from the loop and bring that right in to my other system here so I can make sure it's all working. So let me find where that cable went. I've got, I told you, like my little room here is a total disaster. And I was going to clean up, and then I said, you know what? I got to do some streaming because I got more stuff to test. And these things are really handy to have because you never know when you might need some HDMI ingest, right? So we're just going to plug this in here. And with any luck, when I open up the lens cover, I should see some imagery here. All right, so I got the camera hooked up, and I'm not seeing anything looping out just yet, but it might not happen until that camera gets activated. So we're going to load up vMix real quick, and let's see what happens here. Window Player is here. Eric Bazinga is here. Bill Frost is here. Edward 3 remembers doing some live streams a long time ago. I do remember Edward. And Mario is here as well. And he bought the low-cost Chromebook we looked at the other day, and he's quite happy with it, so that's great. Yeah, that's a good deal. I think for the price point, that Chromebook was excellent. All right, so now we're gonna just go in and change or add an input here on vMix. And let me pull up the screen. So I'm running vMix that I'm streaming out on my desktop computer, and then it's also running here on the laptop. So we're just going to add a camera source, and let's see if it shows up on the list. And it does. So we're going to select that. And I'm just going to leave everything as is because I think that's what I am streaming at. And we should see, yep, there it is. Let's wait for the camera to focus. There it goes. Okay, so it brought that in. Now what I want to look at here is this screen, because this will indicate to us whether or not we're seeing any drop frames on the output. And it doesn't look like it, actually. Let me move it around a little bit. We'll get some motion going on, you know, kind of make it a little bit difficult for it. And what you're looking for is the source drop. And it looks like it's holding steady here. And you know, this is only 30 frames per second at 1080p. Now this will support only 1080p 60 at the max. But it's, otherwise it appears to be working. I'm not seeing any drop frames yet, so that's good. And we'll see how it does with the 60 hertz stuff. Now there is an instruction guide here as well. And we'll try it out with OBS in a minute too. So you can see all the stuff here. So it's just, yeah, I mean, it's plug and play. I mean, I didn't need any drivers. It just detected it. And like I said, this should work as a, this should work as a, you know, as a webcam on any application. And vMix, of course, works because it's vMix. I got a question for James C. in the Amazon chat. He says, what's the benefit of this capture versus another USB or an internal one? That's a good question. You know, there's not necessarily any benefit here other than the fact that it's available right now. So I think that's been an issue that people have had, is getting, you know, availability of these devices. So that would be one benefit, I think, would be that. Another benefit versus a regular capture card, like an internal one, I use an internal capture card on my desktop computer, the one that I'm streaming with right now. And that, I think, is always the best way to go, just because you have, in this case, I'm connected, directly, excuse me, I'm just setting up my input here. I'm connected directly to my PCI bus here, so I'm not going through USB or anything, it's just going straight in. And I think that does make a difference when you're doing that, because you don't have another layer in between. So I've got a quad, they call it the Deck Link Quad. It's an HDMI 4-input card. And I've got 3 inputs right now. So I have this on number 2, this is number 1, this is number 3, and number 4 I'm trying to loop out of this box, which doesn't seem to be working at the moment. So I'm going to hook up a monitor in a minute to see if it does loop out, because I'm not getting anything out the loop here. And it could just be my, it could just be my capture card not talking to it properly. I don't know what it's trying to output. So I have to match the output on my input card, capture card on the PC, and it's just not seeing it at the moment. So what we'll do is maybe get my monitor hooked up, and let's see if it detects it there. But so far, so good. I mean, it's not dropping any frames. So there doesn't seem to be any real latency here beyond what you would normally get in vMix. So that's good. I'm just going to look at the screen because I'm looking at my other screen. Yeah, you know what? There's a little bit of latency. Not a lot. But I'm not dropping any frames, so that's a good thing. And it could be actually just the vMix processing latency, so it may not even be any real issue there. But let me get one of my monitors out here, and we'll just put it next to it and see. All my little tables are occupied with stuff. Let's put this down here for a second, and we'll take a look and see if I get anything out of that. So bear with me for 1 second here, folks, while I just get my display hooked up here. And all I'm looking for is just to see if that loop out is working on it. Yeah, let me just disconnect that. And connect this. All right, so then we're going to take a different HDMI cable here. And we'll just grab one of my other 1.5 million HDMI cables that are just sitting here under my desk. And we'll connect that up real quick and see what we get. But yeah, it looks like it's working. But again, I'm not getting anything out of the loop out here. So that's the only thing that's concerning me at the moment. So I'm going to plug in this monitor and just see if it's just my video capture on the other side that's not working. But all right, so it is. Oh, you know what? So it's a 30p. So let me see if I can figure out that issue. So let's go and grab that other cable again, and I'll just set it for 30p and see if maybe that gives it a better output. Because I forgot I set this camera at 30p because that's what I record at. But generally it works when I plug it directly in, so I'm not sure what's going on here yet. So James says portability and size. Yeah, I think that's what, if you want something portable, you got it right here. I would, of course, err on the side of caution. Like if you're doing this for a living, buying the off-brand capture device is not always what I recommend. But, a lot of times the guts of one of these things is what you'll find in a name brand one. So, this is oftentimes generic stuff, and if you can, you can often get the right, the same thing. So in a different, just in a different branded product. So it's, it's kind of hit or miss, but I would say that if I was getting paid to conduct a live stream, I probably would not, I would not rely on something like this. I would do something, a little more higher end just to be safe. But I will say, though, I ran my, my channel here off a cam link that I had plugged into the USB on this laptop for about a month. And it was working fine. So, these things can work. But I think, again, if you're doing, higher end stuff, it's probably best to get, some higher end equipment. But the loop out here just doesn't seem to be working. So I'm not sure what it's trying to loop out at either. So when we hook up the Nintendo Switch, we'll see what happens there. But it's good. I did drop a frame already. So it did drop one frame. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. So for example, on my system here with the internal, let me reset the statistics here. I'm going to close out input 4. I'm just looking at my internal statistics here. I mean, you do drop frames here and there, but so far I think it seems to be working okay. All right, so now I think I might have lost, I did lose my connection to the laptop here, didn't I? So let me see what's, I got to replace this Ethernet cable because I keep losing. There it goes. So here's the current drop frame status. So we had 12 resyncs and 1 dropped frame. And I don't know if those resyncs came as a result of me unplugging things to the loop out here. But that was the only issue we've had with it so far. So, okay, I can live with that so far. It's probably not going to be perfect, but let's do the switch now. So let's turn off the camera. And you'll see those frames now, you'll see the frame drops go up significantly with the camera disconnected. At least you should. Let me just disconnect it completely. It could just be it just cuts off the video. But not bad. All right. Let me take a few questions here. We got lots of questions. Okay, so let me start off on the YouTube side here. Wow, we got lots of people I missed here. So we got BB Garnett is here, Chad Stevenson is here. Monty says he noticed there was an influx of cheap HDMI devices on Amazon that were all similar, if not exactly the same device by many different Chinese brands. And that is often what you see. They're all commodities, and they all stamp a different brand on here. So like this is the Mirror Box, but you could probably find another one that looks like this that's called something else. Yeah, they'll cost a little bit less. Feral Sparky says this would be a good device to make a cheap laptop into a streaming PC for your game. Yeah, so if you wanted to output some video to your cheap laptop for streaming, this could do it for sure. We'll see how well it handles the 60 hertz stuff. And Golden Ogre wants to know how it will do for game recording, and that's actually what we're going to look at next here, is how it handles that. So let me put this camera aside, and we're going to hook up the Nintendo Switch to it. And what I'm a little nervous about is the fact that I'm not seeing any video output come out of this thing. So we're going to have to explore that a little bit more. Now, what I'm going to do here with vMix is I'm going to actually change the settings here to make this into a 60 hertz broadcast. So I'm just going to change and I'll show you what I'm doing here on my screen. So I'm going to make this a 60p. We'll do 5994. All right. And we'll hit OK. And this will cause it to reboot. And so now we're at 60. So when we do the switch, we'll have a faster frame rate, presumably. And I just need to free up some room here on my power adapter. I need that one. What's this one going to? That's my laptop. That's the monitor. What's this one? This one is... I got so much stuff. Right, that one we can undo right now. Yeah, so probably tomorrow is going to be a cleanup day. Although I might do a stream because I'm getting in. I got in that mode thing, so we'll see that, which allows you to turn. It's a disk emulator for the Saturn and the Dreamcast. So that might be kind of a fun thing to play with. But I'm a little low energy today because it's been a pretty busy week. All right, so let's disconnect the mini cable here. So going to put this away so I don't lose it. This cable is like one of the few that I have that has the mini HDMI on there, so I don't want to misplace that one. And that's a display port. So we're going to get out our HDMI cable. Got a million of these. All right, so here's a good HDMI cable. All right, so now we're going to plug the switch in. And this, by the way, this little dock, this is a Nintendo dock that I built into a smaller case. And I did a stream with this like around Christmas time. And that was really fun. So you can check that out at your leisure. So we're going to plug in the switch here. And let's see what happens when we power it up. So we're going to turn on the switch. All right, so there we go. It's already popped up. So now what I'm going to do, though, is I want to change the input setting here to be 60. So let me show you what I'm doing. So we're going to say camera is the mirror box. And we're going to say 60p 5994. OK, there we go. All right, so it's bringing it in at 60. And let me get out my controller here. Somebody was asking if it's bringing in audio, and I will find that out for you in a second here. Shoot. My daughters were playing together this morning. So I think I'm just going to reset the game. So let's go change user. My daughters have been very much into Animal Crossing. So, and I have gotten into Animal Crossing as a result of them being into Animal Crossing. It's kind of a fun game. All right, so I'm still not getting anything out of the loop out here, but let me load in. Let me try loading up my input 4 again, and let's see what we get. Oops, 5994p. Yeah, it's just that loop out's just not working. Oh, there it is. No, it's working now. Okay. So it might have been like the 30p output wasn't working too great. And then we'll see if we're getting any audio here too. Yeah, so I'm getting audio. You're not hearing the audio, but there's definitely audio. And I'll turn on the... See? So that works. Okay, cool. Okay, so now, this is actually a good test because now so what you're seeing here is the loop out from the loop out here. So essentially you get the signal back out again. I would imagine there's probably a couple milliseconds of lag that probably introduces, but if you want the best experience for recording your game, you can just loop it out. And the video is not compressed here at all either, so that's the other thing. So what I'm going to do now is reset the settings here, or at least the monitoring, and I'll show you what I'm seeing here. So what we're looking for is any kind of drop frames. The resyncing, I need to look into what that means on vMix. That might be similar to a drop frame because it does have to resync the video. So we'll see what happens here. And Animal Crossing sometimes takes a long time to load. And we'll see what happens. Because I really want to make sure that we're not losing any frames while we're playing here. And let me see what she's saying to me here. So Isabel's giving me the morning update. All right. I'll go through all this. Yeah. So my daughter was very excited to open her museum this morning. She woke me up at 5:45 to get her museum opened. So Surav Gosh says, loves my reviews. Thank you very much for the kind words. Sam Millen wants to know, what's the name of the HDMI device? This is called the Mira Box. And you can find this on the Amazon link. If you're on YouTube, on the Amazon link in the description, you can click over and find it on Amazon. We're actually doing this stream on Amazon right now. And this box is about $100. And normally I would suggest getting like the Elgato HD60S or the Elgato Camlink, something from more of a name brand. But if you are having a hard time finding things right now, just given the circumstances, this might be the way to go. And what's nice is that this will replicate a webcam. So there's no drivers that you need to install. So right now you're seeing basically this is the software running on the laptop right here is the software I use for streaming and recording. This is called vMix. And what I'm doing here is just monitoring to see if we have any frame drops as we're running around here. And it doesn't look like we're having any. And this is 60 hertz output, so it looks like it's doing okay. Now you're watching me at 30, so there's going to be some reduction in frame rate from 60 to 30 here. So you might see a little lag going on, but I'm watching it to make sure that it's not happening on screen here, and then monitoring the overview of the frames coming in. And we haven't seen any frame drops here. And my CPU utilization is very minimal also, so it looks like this is working pretty much like the Elgato stuff does. But the question is, long-term viability here, right? Like, how long will this thing last? And if you have a choice between an Elgato or this, I would suggest that it's probably a better idea to go with the Elgato stuff just because it's backed up by a company that I know. I am concerned, though, that I'm seeing these frame resyncs, and I need to look at what that means for vMix, because I'm not getting that on the capture board that I use on my desktop machine here. And I don't recall seeing this on the Elgatos either. So we've had 13 resynced frames running at 60 hertz. And I need to look at that. Let's take a look at that real quick. So vMix resync. And I'm just going to see what that means. Okay, so resync. And you're not seeing what I'm looking at here, but resync is the number of drop frames as a result of the capture card or camera running too fast. For example, the camera clock might be slightly faster than vMix. So it's possible here that that because I'm at 59.94, this thing could be outputting a regular 60p. Although I think I would see more resyncs than just 16 over the time frame, because we would be seeing them regularly, right? So I need to investigate that a little bit further, because that's not something I get now on any of my other capture hardware. So that we've had 17 resyncs. We should see 18 shortly. I mean, it doesn't look like it's breaking up at all, so that's good. So it's handling the 60 frames per second here just fine. Now, what's interesting is I'm passing through this directly out of the loop out into my video system. And it actually looks a little washed out, to be honest. It's like really washed out of the loop out. So the next step will be I'll plug it into that monitor and see what we're getting. But of interest is that I set the same settings on my internal capture card, and I'm not getting the resync error there. So I'm basically sending the same HDMI signal into both with the same settings, and my internal capture card is not having frame resync. So we're up to 20 now. Now, granted, 20 frames out of 5 minutes or whatever is not a big deal, but if you, I would not use this for broadcast. You want to be careful with that. But it looks like it's doing okay. So let me take a few questions here. Ryan Cage wants to know, have you tested the Legion 7i yet? I have not, but I'm sure I'll get one in at some point. Henrique Zaliski likes my hat. Thank you. I like my hat too. I got this at a SpaceX launch. They were handing them out. Patrick Chang has found there's a bunch of USB 2.0 adapters out there for like 20 or 30 bucks. I think EPOS Fox looked at one. Now this one is USB 3.0. So it is running at with a higher data rate. But you don't need all that much data rate for this kind of stuff. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I guess. Yeah, so we're still getting some frame resyncs here. Not a lot. But it looks smooth to me. Like I'm looking at the the footage coming in, it looks okay. MG first says, if I paused or stopped with the channel of the week. Yeah, I haven't done we kind of changed the format of the weekly wrap-up. So I don't do the long show anymore. We pick a single topic and kind of go from there. So occasionally there'll be something that we talk about in the wrap-up that will, reference the site. But yeah, we haven't done a channel of the week in a while. Monty likes the Blackmagic Intensity Pro that does 1080p. Yeah, so what I went with is, here, I'll pull it up on the screen here, because I think I've done the vMix testing that I was looking to do, I have done. So I'm satisfied with how this is working. Let me write up a quick, I'll pull up the website for you real quick and show you what I got. I'll pull it up on Amazon. It was not cheap, but it's got 4 inputs. Quad, I think it's called. And let me see if I can find it here. Then I'll show you. Here it is. That's not it. Yeah, it was not, it was not terribly expensive for what it is. Here it is. Here, I'll pull this up here for you so you can see what I'm looking at. Bear with me for one more second. I'm just going to show you. So this is what I got, which is the Blackmagic Deck Link Quad. And it has 4 HDMI inputs, and it can take up to 60 hertz. In fact, I hooked up some 60 hertz devices to it the other day, and it's been working great. So generally, my workflow is 1080p 30, so I've got, like I said, I got 3 cameras going into it right now. Just a minute ago, we had 4 inputs going through it, no problem. And so, this is fine. It's a little on the pricier side. It's like, almost $600, $559, but it works. And sometimes when you want something that works, you got to pay for it. But I don't have any resynced frames. There's nothing getting dropped. Like it is rock. I mean, this thing is rock solid. And it's, it's plugging into your PCI Express bus directly versus going through USB. So it's a little bit more reliable than one of these things. So yeah, so it's good. So let me try out, what I'm going to do real quick here is just load up Skype, because I wanted to just make sure that this does indeed show up as a webcam. And then we'll go from there. So hang on one second, folks. I just don't know what account I've got logged into this thing here. Oh, great. So I got to sign in the one. Bear with me for 1 minute here. Let's go into my test account. Because what I want to do is bring in, okay, so, oh, perfect. So here we go. So this is my Mirrorbox camera. And it works fine. It shows up as a webcam. So I can go to my integrated camera, which is hello, or I can click on the Mirrorbox. And that's the switch output, but it's seeing it as a webcam. So that's exactly what we want. So yeah, it's good. I mean, it works, like any one of these other boxes do. But it's got the loop out. But the loop out was washed out. So I've got to look at, actually, before we move on, let me just plug in the monitor and see if the monitor looks washed out also, because it might be doing something to the video. So let's check that out real quick. Yeah, it's looking a bit washed out on the monitor too. So let me plug it directly in. Let's plug it directly in here. So I'm just going to plug the switch directly into the monitor here and see if it looks any different. Yeah, it looks the same actually. So yeah, it just could be, how the my capture card was interpreting the video. So yeah, I mean, my assessment here is that, it's not something I would bet my company's existence on. So I think if you're, let me close this out here. I think if you're looking for a capture device and you're desperate, this is going to work. but I would just be careful about it because, again, I'm seeing some frame resyncs, which means the timing isn't perfect on this, and that could be an issue for some folks. Not a huge issue because it wasn't, wasn't noticeable, but it's still, I think, still an issue to be concerned about. John Moshi wants to know what the DPI of the switch is. I'm not sure what you mean. I think the switch was outputting at 1080p 60 is what I think it outputs at. Todd Daniel purchased a Camlink 4K from Amazon. It was $129.99 and shipped from Europe. Took a week or so. Yeah, that's the Camlink 4K is the one I have, and that's been great. I use that, like I said, I use that for my studio camera for about a month. Todd also is using one of these mirror boxes for running a DSLR as a webcam during Zoom meetings. Has not had any issues with it. And they run for 2 to 4 hours in length. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, there's no moving parts in these things, and if it works, it's going to work. So, yeah, not bad. And it's nice because you get the loop through. So if you are doing game capture, that's something you'd want. And this, again, I think this really lines up with the HD60S from Elgato. And the advantage here is that there's no driver required. You just plug it in. Eric Bazinga says there was an update to the Oculus Link that introduced new graphics options, so you can prioritize performance, graphics, or balance. That's interesting. I may have to look into that. And Patrick says on that card, it's better than 4 USB capture boards. Yeah, for sure. So if you have a desktop, and actually what you could do with that capture board is you could plug it into a Thunderbolt eGPU enclosure and use it that way. That's another way you could use that card. So yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so yeah, bottom line, workable. I think it's okay. But again, I still would probably feel safer recommending a name brand. All right. BB Garnett wants to know, am I going to check out the 1GX 17-inch laptop? I have not heard of that. Send me a link to it. I'll take a look. I found that the pricey stuff doesn't get watched all that much on my channel, so I've been not doing as much with that, unless it's something that I need to buy for my own purposes. All right, so now we are going to, let me keep this Ethernet cable in here. We're going to open up the box for the keyboard. So let's open that up real quick. And by the way, some things don't end up being a video on this channel either if they work. I think the keyboard will probably do some kind of review of. So let's take it out of the box here. This is pricey. This thing, I'm surprised at how much this costs. This is like $229. And I think what's crazy is, and I understand how they can do this because gaming stuff is super profitable. So you're paying a premium. But it's good that gaming has resulted in the mechanical keyboards coming back. So this is a mechanical keyboard. It's wireless. TKL is 10 keyless. So Soundman says, am I telling, is it better than his $10,000 Matrox Axio capture card from 15 years ago? Well, it's probably in the same boat. At least you got your money's worth out of that capture card. Because for a time, there wasn't anything better than that. Okay, so let's take this thing out of the box and see what's inside here. So it is, I'll show you the side. Ooh, look at those clicky keys. They have like a couple different versions of this. They have, this is the clicky one, but it's not like super clicky, but like it's not very loud. But look how thin the whole mechanism is here. That's the front. You got like a little volume rocker here. What it doesn't have, I guess you can set macros on the F keys, but it doesn't have like separate macro keys. And apparently this works over Bluetooth in addition to its dongle. And I'm guessing the latency is probably going to be better with the dongle versus the Bluetooth. Now what's interesting, as we get it set up here, is that, I'll need to read the instructions a little bit, but the the dongle here, which is your little radio. Oh, there's two things. What is this? Wow, there's all sorts of stuff in here. So this is the dongle. And then the thing the dongle is plugged into at the moment has another USB connector on there, a little micro USB. Isn't that interesting? So we need to figure out what that's all about. And the keyboard has micro USB there. So I'm guessing maybe you can plug it in directly. I don't know. Let's plug it in directly and see what happens to begin with here. So we'll undo the cable and we'll plug it in. Okay, so I plugged it in on the side there. This keyboard's so thin. I just want to see what happens when I plug it in directly to see if it'll work just like plugged in. All right, so now it is charging the battery. And I said you can get 40 hours of gaming goodness out of this thing. It's got a nice nylon braided cable. And then it's also telling me what all these different cables do. So we'll look at this sheet here in a second. And we've got our sticker. Everybody does the stickers, right? We got a warranty card and some more stuff we can buy. All right. So let's take a look here and see what all this stuff is. Okay, so one is you want to take out, just looking at this sheet here, you want to take out the dongle, which we did. I guess maybe you could use this as an extender. That's probably what that's for. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So what this is, so like if you don't want to have this tucked behind your computer, then you plug it in here and then use the cable to extend out the receiver. That's what that's for. So I think that's what that is. Okay. All right, so now let me go into my notepad real quick and just see if I can start typing without doing any other configuration. So let's type in notepad. Actually, okay, well I can tell you right now, I just, the keyboard's plugged in, but it is not working. Let me turn it on real quick. Oh, there it goes. All right, so it looks like you gotta turn it on, but you can use it directly attached. So let me get the computer situated here to give you a better view. So if I just bring this around this way, there we go, and I start typing. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. A little notepad. Okay, it's working. That works. It's actually kind of a nice keyboard to type on. Nice click to it. It's got a good sound. We have the RGB here going on. Hear that? Not bad. All right, so that worked. So we have, right, so we have the dongle can be extended, or you can plug it in directly, or you can use Bluetooth. There's like 3 different modes here. And I got to see what some of these other things do. So there is, so I can turn the backlight down here with this key. But it's pretty bright. I mean, this under studio lights, and you can see it pretty nicely. This control here adjusts the volume. So as I move this up and down, you'll see the volume change there up in the upper left-hand corner. All right, so that's cool. You got your standard media controls here, batteries charging, caps lock indicator. And I don't know what that button is for, so let's look that up real quick. Let's see what that's all about. I don't think they had instructions in the box here. So you know what we'll do is we'll grab the Logitech software and install that. But the good news is you can use it. So like if you wanted to travel with this, for example, and you didn't want to lose the dongle, then you could switch it into Bluetooth mode, and it'll switch over. See here, just disconnected, and now it's like in Bluetooth discovery mode. That is, I'm guessing, the direct connection or the dongle connection. And the only one I'm not sure about is what that is. I think that's like a gaming setting or something, but let's grab the software for it. They actually sent me a little cheat sheet that I should be looking at right now. This came in, by the way, free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. And what I want to do real quick is just find the sheet that they sent me. So it's over here, so that we can more quickly and efficiently play around with this. All right, so let's play. Okay, so here's the rundown. Lightspeed Pro-Grade Wireless, unrivaled ultra-fast 1 millisecond report rate. Connect via Lightspeed USB receiver or Bluetooth and switch between them with a button press. Okay, so that's what that does. It doesn't say what that icon is up there, so I need to figure that out. But there is software called G-Hub, which I've probably used before. So let's grab that real quick, because I'm curious to see like what we can set for colors on this. So we're going to go download G-Hub. And I'm never a big fan of having like software that's always running, but we'll see what goes on there. Okay, so Todd Daniel, quick question about my SD2 SNES video from the other day. Do you know if the new FX Pack Pro carts from Stone Age Gamer replaces the SD2 SNES? So yes, the FX Pack Pro is the SD2 SNES. It's the SD2 SNES Pro. So that is the newer version of it. So that's what you can get there. Nick F. Reports, yes, there is the three versions. There's tactile, there's linear, and clicky. So there's bound to be something that works for you. And then on the Logitech Hub here, there's a Windows and Mac option. And you know, the big question on the Mac is how long is this Mac stuff going to work, especially if they all go to, if they all switch to whatchamacallit, ARM, right? Okay, so we'll let the software download here real quick. And I'll play around with this dongle and see how that works. But I think it's clever. Like it's got its own little extender while that's downloading. So if so you could plug it in directly to your USB port, or you plug it in here and then take the USB cable here and just plug it into the back of that. And then you've got an extender. So you could put it out from behind your tower, for example. And well, you couldn't stand it up, I guess, but you could get it out from behind your computer. So that's cool. All right, so the software is in. We'll just run that real quick. And we'll see what kind of configuration options we have on this thing. And we'll let that go. So Feral Sparky says, I wish they would make it so you could load up the software and set everything up and the keyboard would have onboard logic to keep track of your settings. There are keyboards that do that. I think Razer's keyboards have that option. And I think this one might also, but we'll double check. But I know for a fact I have tested keyboards, and I can't remember whose it was at this point, that do allow you to download settings into the keyboard, and the keyboard will retain it, so you can move it to a different computer and have the same settings there. All right, so I may have to set up a little 2-up view in a minute to give us a look at how this works. And Feral says it should be standard. I agree, because I really don't like having software, first of all, that has to be loaded all the time. And for me, it's even more complicated because I look at so much stuff that my PCs get loaded up with junk. And I regret now hooking it up to this one because this is a computer I use all the time. I should have maybe grabbed one of the loaners that we get in from some of the manufacturers there. Okay, so Here, let me show you what I'm seeing here. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to get the keyboard positioned in a way that I can show you and the screen at the same time. All right, click on the gear icon to start configuring it. Where's the gear icon? Oh, I have to go this way. All right, so let's do this. Unlock your potential, explore our community. Okay, great. So we're going to close that. And see, this is the thing that gets me, is that it stays resonant down here, right? So you've got this software running in your toolbar here that doesn't go away. And it's already complicated by the fact that the keyboard for the laptop has its own software that's always running as well. All right. So what did I miss here? I just went through all this. Launch G-Hub. Here we go. And now they want, I'll opt in. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, bug fixes. All right, so here we go. So my battery's at 46% on the keyboard. And if we click on it, now I'm guessing the other Logitech peripherals will work in a similar way. I'm just going to relocate the laptop here without disconnecting my Ethernet cable again so that I can show you the screen and the laptop at the same time, and the keyboard. So let's put that over here, and then I'm going to move the keyboard into position here. Now watch what I'm going to do. This is going to be really cool. I'm going to grab my 2-up view here like this, and I'm going to add stuff to it. So watch this. I'm going to add multi-view, and we're going to throw in our laptop display. And what I'm going to do is just like zoom this out slightly just so I have some room here. I'll move this up to the top. And then overlay 2. Let's go multi-view. Overlay 2, we're going to bring in my overhead view, but I'm going to crop this. So we're going to go like that and like that and like this. Because then you can see if I'm setting things, you can see like the result of that. And I think I'm going to zoom this out slightly. And then we'll move the other one over a little bit. All right, so let's see what happens here. So we're going to go, so let me click on a key. I like to just see what I can configure. So right now it's kind of set on this thing here. We can do freestyle. Okay, so can I click on an individual key? You know what I'm going to hook up a mouse also so my arm is not constantly getting blocked here. One of the good things about never putting anything away is that I've always got some kind of device nearby. So we can just hook this mouse up to the laptop real quick. Okay. All right, so we got the keyboard in position here. And if I click on a key, can I change the key? All right, so animations. We have different animations. Let's see what they have for animations here. I will say the backlight on the keyboard is pretty bright. I mean, if you can see this right now, like that's pretty good. And this is like your standard fare, right? Like you can have all these different things going on. So it's changing color. Pretty neat. JFC wants to know if I'm going to do a video about Apple and their new ARM CPUs and GPUs. In fact, I just did one. You can check it out. Look for the weekly wrap-up from last week. That's the problem with the YouTube algorithm, is that people are interested in things and it doesn't give those things to people. So, okay, so this button here is game mode. So when this is enabled, you can have certain keys be disabled. So for example, right now, the Windows key, so if I hit the Windows key now, as you can see, it pops up. And then if I enable game mode, nada, because it's disabling that key. And I hit the wrong button. Hang on, I'll put it back to this one. There we go. So in that game mode, that will disable the keys that might accidentally take you out of the game. So as you can see here with game mode enabled, that's off. I turn it on, back on. That makes sense. Oh, we got a super chat in from, who sent us a super chat? From Red Robbo's workshop. He bought a 915 and returned it. None of the secondary key symbols are illuminated, which is not acceptable on a board of this price. So secondary key labels, which ones are you talking? It looks like every one on this one is illuminated. But I could see that being an issue. Or the secondary, oh, I see. So, right, so the question mark, for example, is not lit up, but the slash there is. See that? So you can see the question mark below there, but when it's dark, you can't see it. That is, I agree, that's not a good thing. I'm going to point that out, I think, in my review. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right, so let's see if we can get in here and adjust some of the, all right, so these are all the macros. I mean, this is stuff that I've seen, you know, before, obviously. Let's go over to freestyle. I just want to go and see if I can just change the color. So it should let me select some of these keys. All right, let's see. How do we set a key? All right, so let's go into freestyle. See, it's letting me select here, but like if I click on, it's not letting me do that. So let's turn color brush, default, add new freestyle. Maybe let's try it. Okay, so if I add a new one here, maybe that lets me do it. I can't imagine you can't, for this much money, you can't configure the keys individually. Oh, I see, here we go. Okay, so I've just okay, I double click. Okay, that's what did it. So I could set, there we go. And I could set these to like blue maybe. That's cool. So you could set an individual key. And then if I click on a few more here, I can change those to lighter blue or something. Okay, that makes sense. So Red Rob, I just want to make sure that's what you were getting at, was that it doesn't light up the secondary assignment on those keys. Silver Eagle Gamer wants to know, is this better than the Razer Black Widow? I have not tried the Razer Black Widow. The last Razer one I looked at was their mechanical keyboard that uses the lasers for the key switches, and that I use that one upstairs. It's great. I really like that one quite a bit. Viral Sparky uses a Red Dragon mechanical. Yeah, there's a lot of keyboards out there. Oh, you can change the color of this thing too, so we can change that to like some green here, a little dark green. That's cool. Here, I'll turn the overhead lights off and you can get a better look at it. So let me do that. I have my lights on a, well, that's cool. That looks much better, doesn't it? So you get a better feel for that. And then I can go here to that group of keys that I selected and just change the color here on the fly. But you're right, you don't see the, like the question mark, the quotation marks here, like all the secondary key functions are not backlit. So you just see the slash and not the question mark. That is kind of, why would they, you know, now I'm going to have to go back and look at everything. And you know what? My gaming laptop here doesn't do that either on its lit up keyboard. So I wonder if that's like the standard. I got to go check now all my other keyboards and see if they light up the lower key functions. That's interesting. Now, how do we, if we want to undo something, how do I unassign the key? I guess I could go back to this one. And this one's red now, so if I double click, see, it just creates a new one. So how do I get rid of that? I right click maybe to unassign it? Huh. So you can it gets kind of crazy because like it's, so I don't know how like I could undo, because if I click on, for example, if I click on the tab key here, it's going to create another, which is adding keys to the mix and taking them out of something else. So right now I'm on the purple. Yeah, so it's not as intuitive as I would like. So yeah, you can multi-select. So like if I go and do this, I can grab that whole row. Actually, right now everything is selected, so I need to make a new color. Now, how do we do that? I did it before. Huh. This is actually a rather confusing interface, if I don't say so myself here. And I'm clicking this and it just like disappears. It doesn't like stay up. Or I click on the color maybe. Huh. I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit more, maybe read the instructions, because it doesn't seem all that intuitive. Or I have to make a new profile. Yeah, that's right. So you have to make a new, add a new freestyle. Okay, so then I could then click on, am I right? I don't know. New freestyle, color brush, fill a group. Oh, I see. So I could fill a group. Let me change the color to blue here and see if that might. There we go. Okay. Oh, I see. So if I wanted to go back to this one, I am very confused. Like, how do I get back to the color that I had before? See, now it's making everything blue. Oh, I see. So the color brush is that. But how do I know that I want that color again? Oh boy. Yeah, we're going to play with this a little bit more. Yeah, rather interesting. I like the thinness of it. Here, I'll turn my lights back on here. So the thinness of it is decent. So it seems pretty portable to me. Let the camera focus. So not bad, right? The backlight is super bright. I mean, with my studio lights on, you can see it. You've got the little, got the little stand under here. And there's I think there's 2 levels to it, so I can pull out just these. So I can have a shorter prop up or a longer one. Oh, and there's a place to store the little dongle back here too. So what you can do, I'll turn it off real quick. So it's wired, it's wireless with its dongle and Bluetooth. And then the dongle with the extender, if I'm not mistaken, oh, maybe not. Oh, so, okay, so the extender does not go in there, but the dongle can fit right inside of here. So I can just slide it right in. And then you can keep the dongle with you and just pop it out. And they have a little ramp here, so when you pull it out, it goes right up the ramp, and you can grab it pretty easily. So that's pretty cool. Or you could switch it to Bluetooth mode. So that's kind of the way this works. And you got a physical switch on the top. And again, they're saying about 40 hours of battery life out of this. And it's not fully charged right now, so that's one thing I'll probably do a little bit more with now is, charge it up before I do my review a little bit later. But I am actually quite perplexed about the software because it doesn't seem all that intuitive as I'm trying to figure out how to program the keys on it. Maybe I'm just crazy here. I don't know. Oh, my computer got dropped off the network again. It'll come back in a second. So hopefully you saw me struggling with it earlier. Just waiting for my computer to catch up here again. Bear with me for 1 second. Let's wait for the laptop to reconnect. There we go. Okay, so I've got it on freestyle. I got 26 keys in one group. And if I select this group, it then, so I could do this whole thing and it creates that. But if I want a new color, how do I get the new color added? Yeah, I'm going to need to read the book on this one. And here's our settings screen. Has an inactivity sensor in there. So, right, so that's to preserve battery life. All lights off after 5 minutes of not being used. Stored custom lighting. Oh, okay, so that was one question. Onboard memory mode. So, oh, okay, so yeah, so it has an onboard memory and it's got 3 different modes. So you can store different profiles in there. And so I guess we got to create a profile and then it can download. Interesting. So lighting cycle, assign stored lighting. So I got to play around with this a little bit also. So it looks like it's got some of what people are looking for. But the Logitech software doesn't feel as intuitive to me as it used to. Because like I said, if I want to, so right now we get everything blue. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now let's say I want to change to a different color. And see, this is like, it keeps popping off. So I'm going to do green now, right? So I'm going to say I want this one green, that one green, this one green. I'll just do like the whole row. So how do I go back to blue if I made a mistake, right? Because I'm still on green. Unless I guess I can do this, but then I've got to. So let's see if it adds 2 keys back to this now. So remember, we've got 79 keys on blue. And now if I take these 3, is it going to add those and be? Okay, it looks like it's, yeah, okay. So you got to rematch the color. That's what you got to do there. You have to like rematch the color. So that's what I mean. It's a little, it doesn't make sense to me. Like you should be able to just click on, because like you have your brush up here, and you see how it keeps jumping down on me? So I'm not going to use I'm just going to use this mouse. So let me go back to this one. And let's see if it'll make these green now. See, it's still blue, because that's what the color brush is. But it doesn't like have my prior settings, so I have to go here, then match this color again, and then I can add those back to that group. I must be doing this wrong, but that's what seems to be the only way that I can make this work. But at least you can do the keys individually here. So that's cool. Yes, my phone was going off. My wife was calling me, which means I have to end the stream shortly. But yeah, it's cool. I gotta experiment a little bit more with this keyboard and try to get an understanding. This is my big concern at the moment is just understanding the lighting settings and how this is going to work. And then the next question is, how do I rename this freestyle? So if I pick that one, how do I name this? Is there a way to name it? See what I mean? Like it just doesn't feel all that intuitive to me. Now we've got macros we can assign to function keys, and then you can store these in 3 different memory settings here. So that's interesting. Can I do individual keys? The problem I have is that I don't like to have my function keys do something different. I like to use my function keys. So that's something that you have to decide whether or not that's important to you. That's the game mode we saw before. So how do I name this freestyle mode? Unless I'm like not seeing something here. So if I add another freestyle, see, like where do I name this? I just might be getting too old for this and not understanding this, but where's the option to name the freestyle? I'm gonna have to send them a note because it seems like I feel like their software has kind of gone backwards a little bit. this doesn't feel that intuitive to me. So yes, I can grab this and make this top row green. And then if I create another color, and then I want to go back, so I got the orange now, but I can't just like click on the orange and get right, because right now it's all orange. Even though I've got the green selected, it's still orange because I have to go up here and then match back to the orange. And then if I do that, I get orange again. And I can add these keys to the orange group. So yeah, I got to play around with this a little bit more. So we'll mess around with that a little bit. All right. Well, folks, this was fun. And, oops. So yeah, I just wanted to do a couple quick things today just to see what how this stuff works. So the video capture board here, I think, not that expensive, $100. Loops video out, seems to work. Had a few resynced frames in vMix, so probably not going to be something I will recommend for high-end video work, but we got 30p and we got 60p, no problem. Keyboard, I like. I'm going to definitely be reviewing this on the channel at some point, but I need to figure out the software a little bit more. I got to spend more time with it. But I like the hardware design, which is nice for the for the design, but the price is definitely up there. So this is like $230. So it's nice though. It feels really, really solid. So it's a nice product, but we gotta dig into that software a little bit more. I need to kind of read up on how it works. But I'm often, when it doesn't feel intuitive to me, then there's something that's lacking. So we've got to figure that out. But yeah, I think what I want to do is just name the effect, because like right now I've got a bunch of effects here named freestyle. So I'll pull this back up here. So I've got new freestyle, and every time I make a new one, it's like it doesn't give me the option to name it, right? And then I've got profiles, which are different. And then it looks like we have the option to do some kind of onboard memory thing here as well. And I think you lose some features when you do this. Not configurable onboard. Okay, so if we turn onboard mode off, can I add the, okay, so I can add my freestyle effect. So here's the freestyle effect that I just did. So I've just downloaded that new freestyle. But see what I mean, like not having a name for it? But I was able to download that to the keyboard. So if I were to go to another computer, that profile is set there. And it looks like the profiles for macros will download as well. So that's cool. So it's nice to see that. So you can jump around to different computers and keep your settings there. And here's something neat too. It gives you a power consumption guide here. So it says the system is consuming 1 milliamp hour and the lighting is consuming 35 milliamp hours. Let's see if I turn the brightness down. And it may be hard to see the numbers there, but I'm going to turn the brightness down, and that number just went to 20, and then to 12, then to 8, and now it is off, and you get like 1124 hours. That's pretty cool. And this is not like, I don't think this is measuring the power consumption, but I'm guessing that's what their engineers found it to be. So you'll see those numbers reduce as you push the button. So that's cool. Yeah, so I got to figure some stuff out here. I need to figure out how to name the effect. And I'm probably missing something super obvious, but I'm just not seeing it at the moment. I'm trying to scroll here. There's nothing to scroll. There's presets, of course, which are what they are. But I've got all these things called new freestyle now, and I want to rename them. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's how you do it. Like I said, I'm getting old. Just not intuitive. So yeah, we got to play around with these a little bit. Hey, Smoke Monster is here, right when I'm about to quit. Neat. So Windows Vista is here. Vista is still going strong. And Smoke Monster likes the TKL keyboards. Yeah, they're cool because you don't always need the number pad. And it's super portable. I really like how thin this is. And it is metal on the top and the back here is plastic, but it's like heavy-duty plastic. And again, I really like the little ramp that they've got for the dongle, which is optional. So you can plug it in, you can plug it in directly, but it just kind of ramps right out of there. So I think that's neat. So yeah, Logitech does good hardware design. I've always liked their hardware design. And I've been using Logitech stuff for 20-something years, so they've been making things that I've used for some time, and they always work pretty well. All right, everybody. As usual, my audience is at the largest number when I'm about to end the stream, but it is almost quitting time because my wife is coming home soon with the children, and I need to be prepared for their arrival and figure out what I'm doing for dinner. So we're going to call it quits for now, and I will be back soon because, and Smoke Monster I know will be interested in this because I got in the new Node device from Terra Onion, and that is a drive emulator for the Saturn and the Dreamcast. So you replace the optical drive unit with the mode, I think they call it, and it works on either console. And I have a Saturn and I have a Dreamcast, so we'll play around with that in an upcoming stream. And that'll be a long one because they have to take the console apart to install this thing. And I also got in some cables for those consoles to get them connected into my video system and to HD TVs. So I got a Genesis to Saturn video adapter cable. And to that, I'm going to attach my HD RetroVision cables into my RetroTink 2X, and that's going to bring it into the video system so we can see what I'm doing. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, we'll have some fun stuff coming up very soon on the channel here. And yeah, I just wanted to get some work done on these two devices today. So to recap, we looked at the Mira box capture device, HDMI capture, pretty low latency. It is a uncompressed signal coming in, simple, plug and play, no drivers. It worked for the most part, not a problem. Good deal if you can't get an Elgato. Keyboard from Logitech, very nice. We got to play around with the software a little bit, but feels pretty solid, and you'll be paying a premium for it, but it looks good. So good stuff. All right, so I will see you all soon. Probably I've got 2 videos in, actually I got 3 videos in the hopper, 2 quick ones and a long one. The long one will be up tomorrow night, and that one, where is that? Where is the device? Not on the desk here with me, but the one that you're going to see next from me is a review of an upcoming mini PC running with a Ryzen processor. Unfortunately, not the new 4500 series, but it is still a nicely performing laptop, or mini PC. So I'm excited to show you that. So that's coming up probably tomorrow night. And then I've got those network adapters we were playing with the other day on the stream. That's coming up. And then I have those stands that we were playing with on the stream last week. So lots of stuff in the hopper. And if you want to see the stands, you can go on Amazon and look for Slope, S-L-O-P-E. That video has already been uploaded to Amazon. And I also have an Amazon video up of those network adapters as well. So those are both up there. And you go into my... I don't know how Amazon's putting my videos up yet. I think you still have to go find them on the product page, but soon they'll be in my Amazon profile. So hopefully that will be something you'll see soon as well. So yeah, good stuff. All right, well, I'm going to get the shutdown process going here, and I will be streaming again soon. I'm not sure when I'll do the Dreamcast and Saturn thing. It's dependent upon one last component arriving, which I think comes tomorrow, so maybe over the weekend, depending on what the family plans are. So yeah, lots more to come here. And thank you all for tuning in. Monty wants to know the size. Let me show you what it looks like real quick, and then I'll go away. This is it. It is pretty much the size of a NUC. And what's really neat about it, this is, oh boy, I'm killing myself here. This is from a company called Minisforum. And this is what it looks like. It's just a, it's like one of their regular mini PCs. But if you pop the hood here, isn't this cool? Like it just pops open. And you can get out the storage and the RAM. So you can put a SATA drive in here. It supports M2 SATAs as well, which it has inside. My only gripe with it was that it did not come with dual channel memory. So it was single channel memory when I got it. So I had to put in my, I have a bunch of pairs of RAM kicking around for these purposes. So I did have to go to the dual channel. Now it's a Ryzen 5 it's a quad core. It's the 3000 series. It's like the 3550 or something. So it's pretty much the same chip that we see in the laptops with a 35-watt TDP. So it runs better. So it's actually pretty close in performance on gaming to what we saw out of the new 4500 processors because of the fact that it's not power constrained. So you'll see on the benchmarks it's very close to the newer chips, which would have been cool if they had put the new chip in here because it probably would have performed a heck of a lot better. But still, it's good for a mini, like the best gaming mini PC, I think, short of something with a GPU in it. So we'll see this very shortly. Unfortunately, it's not yet available on major retailers. They're crowdfunding this one, which I'm disappointed about, but it'll be out soon enough. It's about $400. That's what it's going for. So yeah. All right, everybody. I am going to log off for now, and we will be back. So yeah, stay tuned for this one tomorrow night. And right now I got the door lock that we did the live stream of before. So what's cool about the live streams, and people get confused about this, which is why I don't usually publish the live streams as a video on the channel because people get confused and think it's a regular video. So for example, the door lock, it was an hour-long stream because we had to install it and play with it, get everything going. And somebody writes, oh, this product must stink because it's an hour-long video. Well, no, it just takes an hour to go through the motions with it. So the video is 15 minutes, and that review is up right now. So, so definitely check it out. All right, well, I got some of my homework done today, so I appreciate you all tuning in as I did my homework. And next on the docket for me is dinner. And then if my kids are entertaining themselves, I might try to start cleaning up some of this place, because this place is a disaster. What's happening is that I finish a project, and then I put whatever was on the desk on the floor because I want to start the next project. And the good thing is I always finish what I start, but I never clean up after myself. So what happens over the course of about a week is that everything that I reviewed during that week is on the floor next to me. And so I've got to put it somewhere. So I've got boxes of stuff. What is this? Oh, this is the box we just did. But I've got a ColecoVision down here. I didn't even use that recently. Game controllers, wires all over the place. My 32X is down here. I got the box. It's like the box of the door lock can be recycled. We don't need this anymore. So this is my conundrum. And what I need is this virus thing to be over with so I can bring Jake back in to help me. So because I don't have proper ventilation in here. I've got one of those split system air conditioners. So I can't separate spots. I can't meet the state guidelines for offices here, basically. So I have to, he's still doing work for me remotely, so he's not he's being fully utilized, but it just would be nice to have him here a couple days a week so we could organize this place. But any event, the good news is that my first priority is making videos for all of you, and that's why I have a mess on my hands right here. So yeah, Brittany Marie says the Logitech software doesn't feel that intuitive on the Harmony remotes either. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around a little bit more with that software. I do like the keyboard though; it feels pretty nice. And I'm a typer, so I don't do a lot of gaming anymore because I don't have time. I do play games. I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing with my kids. We're actually having fun with Animal Crossing. We've been doing, we've been fishing a lot in Animal Crossing. So we caught a shark the other day. My daughter was so excited over that. And then my youngest, my 4-year-old, we let her into the island, and she has a tent, and she's dying to go into debt with Tom Nook to get her house, because we both have houses there. So it's good things, good stuff. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and I will be back again shortly. I really like doing these streams. It's been fun to do these because I can connect with everyone in a more interactive way. And what I might do is start letting you all call in. That might be kind of fun because I have the ability with vMix just to give you a link and you can just dial in if you want. So you can do that. All right. Well, I'm going to, I guess I got to call it quits here and call my wife back and see what the plan is for this evening. Today is Thursday. I've lost track of what days of the week mean anymore. So I just work all day long and I enjoy what I do, so it's good. All right. I will catch you all later. And thanks for tuning in. And I'll be back again soon. So just make sure you set your notifications and I'll pop up and you can see me. And I have a thank you, by the way, because we did get a super chat in from Red Robbo's workshop. So thank you for the super chat contribution. It is greatly appreciated. Okay, everybody, have a good evening, and I will speak to you all very soon. And I've got some good news, by the way, on my internet connection, so I will keep you posted on that too. All right, talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.